All right, today, Google AdWords tips you can't live without. This was presented at the Online Marketing Summit in Portland, Oregon, spring 2009. I had maybe 6 minutes or something like that to go through this, so I'll try to keep it under 10. um, the number one AdWords tip is that success is all about quality score. And quality score success comes in a number of ways, but you've got to make all these things work together. So campaign settings, ad testing, managing your campaign, and conversion tracking. So let's talk a little bit about what quality score is. Essentially, it's Google's way of making as much money as possible from the ads that they're displaying for search results. And you can use it to your advantage by essentially I guess I should back up and say what they do is find out the optimum ad placement for each of the ads. So the better your click-through rate and the better that you do with some of the other components that contribute to quality score, actually you can pay less per click and maintain a better position in the AdWords because they make more money because your ad gets clicked through on more. And so it behooves you to come up with the right term, targeting, and ad copy to encourage people to click through at a high rate because it helps your performance and quality score, but also helps lower your cost per click. So some components: click-through rate versus the competing ads on the page for a term, landing page quality, and conversion rates. Make quality score work for you and reduce your cost per acquisition. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you already have your keywords grouped into really tightly knit, laser-focused ad groups, and we're going to move on, which is the number one tip for everybody, but we're going to move on to some of the other stuff. So settings. Don't let Google steal your money. They make enough as it is. So what I've pulled out here is a few things that are particularly relevant to every campaign that you set up. So one is, do you want your ad to show in Canada? Are you sure? That sort of North America bundle that they have, you definitely want to make sure that you're targeting the places that you want. And so if you have a local business and you can really only sell locally, then make sure that you're only targeting the local area. Start small and then test the checkboxes in the sort of networks, devices, and settings. So, you could start with like just Google search and then search partners. I don't ever recommend running content network in the same campaign as your keyword campaign, but that's subject to debate. But all those distribution settings impact how well your campaign does. And then lastly, and then you've got to pay attention to whether or not you actually want your ad to show up on iPhones or other mobile phones. Does it even look good? Are you able to navigate your site that way? Are you doing landing pages that will work on mobile phones? So definitely take that into consideration. And another slide with just a few more tips on it. Never let Google automatically do anything. In other words, don't let them automatically make more money. And finally, like that ad rotation, essentially the only way that ad copy tests will work and work right is if you rotate your ads evenly. Because if you develop a pretty decent performing ad and you keep adding other ads to the ad group and want to see if you can beat that performance of that first ad, you're never going to know if it keeps showing that best performing ad more often than the others. So that's the only way to make ad copy testing truly work. So basically that just leads us to always testing ad copy. We recommend testing at least 2 ads against each other in each and every ad group at all times. Improving your click-through rate improves your quality score, and you can see in this example here from a campaign that we were running, we're just looking at click-through rates. One ad where we're using dynamic keyword insertion, this is a really easy test in the headline, versus the other one where we just written a headline and showing that every time. You can see the click-through rate performance of the dynamic keyword insertion over the static headline is 11.22 to 9.53, and a couple percentage points makes a pretty big difference. The other thing is basically to make this work for you. We like to just keep it to 2 if we can, 2 ads in each group. And then basically what we do is just trade them out When we find a statistical winner, you've got at least 30 clicks in each, and you're able to tell there's a significant difference between the two in terms of click-through rate. We take the loser or pause it or turn it off or delete it or whatever you want to call it, and come up with a new one and put it in the ad group and let the ads rotate evenly to see if we can beat it. And so if you're constantly pruning your campaign like that, you'll always know that you're working against quality score. So I do have a tool here, splittester.com. You can just put in a few of the numbers from your campaign and be able to tell if your one ad copy is beating the other one. Campaign management and quality score. So a couple more things to improve your quality score. Zero impression keywords can negatively impact your quality score. So if you've got ad groups, lots of ad groups in your campaign with really low and no impression keywords, or if you've got 100 keywords in your campaign that have 25 impressions each and no clicks or 1 or 2 clicks among them, that's 2,500 impressions and 2 clicks. That's pretty poor performance. So definitely keep that keyword list pruned. Only use dynamic keyword insertion in one ad per ad group at a time. So when you're running a test versus your control ad, you don't want to run 2 ads simultaneously where you've got dynamic keyword insertion running, because if one, essentially, especially if you're doing it both in headlines or in both headlines will have the exact same copy, and you aren't going to be able to tell if one is working better than the other as easily. And then the other thing is, if it's going wrong for some reason and you're getting words in there that you didn't anticipate, or your ads showing up for terms you didn't anticipate, your ads can look really, really funny. Use search query reporting to so within AdWords, identify irrelevant keywords that your ads are showing for and remove them via negative match. But also, if you're seeing keywords in there that you didn't originally have, and specifically put in your campaign, you can identify those as well and make sure you add them specifically to your campaign and try all the different matching types, broad, phrase, exact, etc., to see if you, because every keyword that you can control the cost for and know the performance for. And then finally, using conversion tracking. Unless you really like burning money, not tracking some sort of performance or understanding what's happening with the clicks that you're doing beyond a click-through rate is pretty bad. You can do really, really well for a term and spend a lot of money on it, only to find out that it's not actually turning into money, leads, sales, etc. on your end. So if you can't track real conversions, don't spend money on bounces, essentially. So maybe a sign of a good visit is that they visited a couple pages, or they looked at something like your About Us or contact page, your store or dealer locator page, something like that, where you actually paid money for a good visit. And even if it isn't a true sale or a true conversion, at least you know that, hey, this keyword is generating the types of visits that we want, and you'll be able to better manage your terms that way. And so those are just a few of the tips that we recommend everybody does for every single AdWords campaign, and you should have better success if you're using these.